Our affirmation today: I am always connected to God. Has anybody ever been in an auto accident? Ordinarily, though, you just leave that insurance policy there. You don't have any contact. You don't call up your insurance adjuster once a week and say, "Hi, there were no accidents this week. We're all good." Unfortunately, a lot of us treat God like a claims adjuster. We wait until there's a problem, and then we turn to prayer. There's a lot of prayer lines around. We know Unity Village has one. And I wonder how many calls they get from people saying, "Wow, I just sat down, did the monthly budget. I even had money left over to go to a movie and dinner, so I just want you to know that I'm grateful for that." They probably don't get too many calls like that. I imagine they get a lot to the contrary, where they weren't able to make ends meet. And of course, that's perfectly fine. That's what God is there. But the important thing is the connection, and that it be a constant connection. We don't want to treat God like a claims adjuster and just call on him when there's an emergency or a need. We know a lot of times we do take time to give thanks if a situation, when the emergency is resolved in our favor and it turns out the way we want it. Usually at the end, people, even if they don't necessarily mean to be saying it to God, "Oh, thank God that turned out okay." And that's good. But on a daily basis, when everything is going fine, that's a great, great time to still remember to keep that connection to God. And then, of course, the contrary is going to be our question. Our question for the week, as you go throughout your week, when you go home and you go through your daily living, your chores and your experience, is, am I always aware of my connection to God? So as you're going through your daily routine this week, in all things, and especially when everything is going fine, the plumbing works, the electrical's working, there's no leaking roof, are you still connected to God? Are you remembering the connection to God, to be grateful every day that the plumbing is working and the electrical is working and there's no leak in the roof, and you know what, the budget turned out great this month, there's no shortfalls. These are all wonderful things, and every one of them is a blessing in itself. Unfortunately, until there's a catastrophe, we don't always remember to stop and thank God for that, but we call on him like we've just been in a major collision and now we need his help. And of course, he's always there for that. We know that to be true, and that definitely is a blessing. But we want to remember to stay connected to God even when everything is good. I remember Pastor Mike used to use this analogy a lot about God constantly being there, like a coffee maker. I think he used that analogy of the coffee maker can be there and you can know all the elements are there, but if it's not plugged in, it's never going to start making any coffee for you. So as part of your daily connection with God, you've got to make sure that you're plugged in, and not just when there's a crisis or a problem. And a lot of times I do that through prayer. And prayer is simply inviting God to play an active role in your life. So again, when you're going through your weekly activities, everything is going fine. A simple prayer to God, inviting him to be an active part of your life, even the good parts, even when everything is going great, because I think that's when you want to be the most connected and giving thanks, because you're not having a crisis, but everything is good. So we want to keep that connection to Christ. And the good news is, as I was saying, don't interact with God as though he were a claims adjuster, calling upon him when great need arises. Call on him every day in every way, through word, through thought, and deed. Because the good news is God is constantly with us, within us, and surrounding our every step in life. So a constant and premium-free insurance policy for supreme happiness, health, and prosperity in all things. So we know that we can kind of consider our connection with God an insurance policy. But stay in touch, not just when you have a claim to file, because he's always there, and everybody certainly appreciates daily gratitude. So not just when you have a need, but even when you want to give thanks for the simple things in life that are sustaining you and making your everyday a wonderful, wonderful place. And the good news is, you can do that. We all have the power to plug in that coffee maker and have that connection going day in and day out. Certainly, if a need does arise, we are well prepared. We're not learning how to pray. I think we've all seen that sometimes in a film or something where somebody is in a crisis situation, and they'll turn to the the co-star, whoever, and I don't even know how to pray. And so some people are like that because they don't until a crisis arises. But we know in our faith, in our fellowship, that having that constant connection with God every day will keep us closer to Him. And just like during our meditation, when we open our mind and we become receptive and open to that divine intervention and guidance and power from God. And the good news is you can do that anytime. We all have that ability to stop, take a few quiet moments, and even if you just recall some of the techniques that we use here every Sunday for that meditation, these are your quiet times with God.